There's no place to sit.
Do you want to sit?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe let's bring chairs. The SG wants to sit.
No, it's fine.
Is it fine? Can you stand?
It's fine.
Because it won't be long, right? Our health is pathetic.
Sitting down won't work. Same here.
Because you are standing, you have to reset, ne?
No, it's fine. Let's go.
Okay. You guys will tell us.
And now, and thank you very much to you and activities as always to inform the nation about the ANC's political work. We do appreciate that. We don't take it as a right. The ANC convenes its National Executive Committee at a time of significant organizational and global developments. This National Executive Committee will assess progress on our renewal agenda, strengthen organizational cohesion, and prepare for the National General Council, which is a critical mid-term review of the 55th Conference resolution. Now, this National Executive Committee is not special. It's a regular meeting of the National Executive Committee. We entered this meeting guided by the Freedom Charter's vision and our commitment to make the ANC a more effective instrument of the people. The NEC will reflect on the state of governance across all spheres, including areas where stability has been restored and the municipalities requiring urgent intervention. The ANC is firm when it comes to service delivery, clean administration, and ethical leadership are not optional. They are obligations to the people who entrusted us with their vote. Progress in energy, logistics, water security, and economic recovery informs our approach to governance discussions. And we can attest that in relation to the current developments in the country when it comes to those matters. Renewal remains a non-negotiable for the ANC. It is not a slogan, it is an organizational undertaking as per conference resolutions. The NEC will receive updates from the Integrity Commission, ensuring that all members, regardless of position, are held to the same ethical and constitutional standards. If anyone appeared before the Commission, the report will be delivered tomorrow in relation to those people who are affected and the outcome and recommendations of the Integrity Commission. We are reaffirming the principle that leadership must lead by example and that ethical conduct is central to restoring public trust. The ANC fully supports the national dialogue as a platform to consolidate unity, deepen democratic participation, and build a shared national vision. The national dialogue is not merely a single meeting, it is a structured process to engage all sectors of society on issues facing the nation, including the economy, safety and security, service delivery, inequality, and social cohesion. South Africa needs a renewed social compact built on openness, accountability, and collective problem solving. The ANC views the dialogue as critical, ensuring that political leadership, civil society, labor, youth, women, faith communities, and traditional leaders contribute meaningfully to national solutions. The dialogue must strengthen institutional trust, reinforce democratic norms. We view the convention not as a dialogue, but as a launching pad to the dialogue that is going to take place from the ward level upwards. And all members of society, organized and unorganized, are invited to participate in the national dialogue. The National General Council is scheduled for December and will be a platform for the movement to critically evaluate implementation of conference resolutions. Preparations are at an advanced stage. Discussion documents, organizational reports, policy updates, review mechanisms, and monitoring tools are all being finalized. The NGC will also reflect on the performance of the government of national unity, economic priorities, service delivery, acceleration, and progress on rebuilding the state. We expect robust, principled, and disciplined debate rooted in unity, renewal, and the ANC's historic mission. The ANC welcomes South Africa's strategic leadership in the G20 summit. G20 on an African soil is significant not only for South Africa, but for the African continent. South Africa enters the G20 as a respected voice of the global South, championing reform of global financial institutions and equitable climate transition and fairer trade and investment frameworks. We support the government's effort to secure investment, as we would have seen with the President of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, doing international tours in Asia as a whole and starting from Europe, which was widely covered, but at the same time well received, and pledges of investment were made to our country. We firmly believe that G20 must work for developing countries, not only for the major industrialized economy. As the ANC convenes today, the ANC is simultaneously engaged in a trademark matter at the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. We support the ANC's defending and reclaiming its heritage as mandated by the ANC Constitution and our legal rights under South African trademark law. Our colors, symbols, and emblems were born out of struggle, sacrifice, and the blood of our people. They are not a fashion item or merchandise for political convenience. We will not allow any formation to appropriate, distort or monetize the ANC's heritage for opportunistic purposes, as we would have seen. This is not about political rivalry. It is about protecting the identity of the oldest liberation movement on the continent and safeguarding the integrity of the struggle symbols that belong to the people of South Africa and the African National Congress. Our representatives will demonstrate today, legal representatives before the court and the Supreme Court judges, that indeed the Umkhonto weSizwe Trademark belong to the African National Congress. The ANC remains anchored in unity, discipline, and renewal. The NEC meets with full appreciation of the challenges facing our country and with the confidence that only a united and renewed ANC can lead South Africa to its next phase of transformation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nobala. To the members of the media, that was the remarks of the SG. We will now hand over to you for any questions.
All right. Moloko Moloto here from ANC. Mr. Mbalula, maybe just two questions. If you can just give us an idea in terms of the number of people who will be affected by the announcement in regard to the Integrity Committee report. Secondly, in relation to that, is that going to be made public? Are you going to be able to say to the public, these are the names, no matter whatever the outcomes? Lastly, I'll come back to my third question.
First and foremost, thank you for the question, but you should know that we did say to you, and I'm happy that Moloko, you have been a very loyal member of these press conferences of the NEC on behalf of your company. But just to remind you that we did say that the Integrity Commission is part of the NEC standard agenda. And after every NEC, in our statement, we do refer to cases that the Integrity Committee will have delivered to the NEC and the verdict of the NEC on those cases. So we've been doing that consistently. At the present moment, the only case before us is the case of the Premier of the Free State, Makwin Litzua, who voluntarily appeared before the Integrity Commission to explain herself in relation to the public vandalism she has encountered in that province in relation to her character and everything else. And she appeared before the Integrity Commission, and that report is ready. Should there be any other report from the Integrity Commission, it will be delivered here today. And then the NEC will deliberate tomorrow on Sunday on those reports and pass decisions on those matters.
I just wanted to find, Musi from the SABC, I wanted to find out, now that we've learned that the heads of state, not only of the US, but of China, are not going to be attending the G20, does that diminish the importance or the standing of the G20? And this is just ahead of the meeting starting.
Well, in our view, it doesn't. G20 will be attended by all countries of the G20, except for the United States that have declared that none of its representatives will actually come to the G20. Countries that have, in terms of their heads of state, that have indicated their non-attendance, from the reports that we have received, just like you, from our government and so on, is that these people have not withdrawn from participation. So non-attendance of the head of state, for whatever reasons, is not equal to non-participation in the G20 by the country. You will remember that there have been different working groups. What is strange with the American Donald Trump stand is that America were briefed, like we have been following G20, was participating in all the working groups of the G20. The only thing they did not come to is Rubio. He did not come to the opening meeting of foreign affairs ministers. And then now they are not coming to take their baiting, because G20 from here is going to the United States of America. But in between that, we have been briefed that officials of the United States have been participating in the different working groups. So you may find that another head of state is not coming for whatever reason, and so on in terms of the G20, but it does not mean that the country is boycotting. But equally, we will urge our government to communicate fiercely against propaganda and the misinterpretation of some of this non-attendance by heads of state, so that we close the gap of misinformation in this particular regard and explain G20 as the host for what it is. So many things are happening in the country and non-attendance. I've not heard a single voice of the South African government saying why these things are happening. No consistent communication. Our government is not communicating. They are treating things like it's business as usual. And yet we are hosting a G20. ANC as a civil society and a liberation movement that appreciate the coming of G20 is very much concerned about the lax and non-communication of our government on an important occasion as this one. Because that president of Argentina, the day he decided he's not coming, and then the other one from Mexico, and all of that, and probably the other one, and the other one, they need to explain. I'm not government. I speak for the ANC. And from where we are standing, G20 is continuing, and it's going to be a great success. The communicator of government cannot only be the president. What's happening to GCIS? Why are they not informing South Africa about G20? Such an important economic impact-driven global event that is putting Africa on the map, hosted by South Africa. So from the ANC side, we will urge government to speak regularly on the developments around G20. Probably they will say they speak. The last time I saw government speaking was yesterday. Kumbuzo talking about cabinet. But cabinet sits every fortnight. We are in G20. G20, we must get briefings weekly. We are ready security-wise, everything. We are capable, we know, as a country. Our agencies and everybody else, we're looking forward to a successful event. And government must communicate. And that is what we will emphasize.
Here's my last question, and I appreciate you have to go, Mr. Mbalula. In relation to the people who arrived from Palestine, and my understanding is that they were not the first group to arrive in the country. And to some extent, there are fears that we may actually just see an influx, given the fact, the state of the genocide in the country. Is that a matter, knowing your position as the ANC, that you support the people of Palestine, our government too? The fears that people have, that perhaps we might just have an influx, how should South Africans navigate that possibility that we may actually see more Palestinians coming to our shores?
Again, another challenge of communication on the part of our government. I've never seen a minister, deputy minister, explaining what happened last night with the Palestinians. I saw NGOs, gift of the givers. I saw a statement from, border management. The issue of the Palestinians is not a border management issue. Where is government when we need them to explain the situation of the Palestinians. How did the plane come here? How did it land? What happened? How do I explain that? As the ANC, obviously, we will want Palestinians coming to our country to be given political asylum status, which our country, as a signatory to the Geneva Convention, is obliged to do that. But the circumstances around the whole matter need a minister of government. I think you will agree. You are South Africans. You want government to explain that there is a group of people, 130, arriving at OR Tambo. The Palestinians and all of that, how were they processed, what happened? Border management is an agency of government, and they will explain their procedures. That we gave them forms to sign, and that is it. It ends there. But you need a political leader of this government who have voted. Even in the GNU, where Schreiber explaining what are the laws that have been followed to accept the Palestinians in this country. Where is the Minister of Home Affairs to explain that? Should they be against any laws that inform the acceptance of the Palestinians in this country and all of that, we will rise as the ANC, because we expect that the Palestinians must be granted political asylum as a matter of need, which we know, all of us, the situation that the Palestinians are in Palestine. It is possible that this is depopulation of a nation like Palestine, like what we have read about the Donald Trump plan. What is this? And those are the questions we'll be asking from our government representatives who are deployed. And by the end of this meeting, we should be able as the ANC to give you a clearer position. But I can tell you now, without NEC, our policy is biased towards political asylum as a country that has signed the Geneva Convention. And those who are in need, who are destitute because of political situation, justifiably so, in their countries, are entitled to political asylum in our country. And we will support that.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, SG.
Thank you. Thank you.
Am I wrong, guys? You were there as the media the whole night. I watched that thing till 12 o'clock.